What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 50 of Hit the Books, a podcast where we dive deep into the world of sports and sports gambling. Each episode, we break down the latest news and trends, provide analysis, and offer up our best bets in betting advice. So let's jump into this episode of Hit the Books. On this week's episode, I'm back, ready to rock. Looking forward to this week with the boys. Ace is out this week with a work event. We've got lots and lots of good sports to go over this week to gear us for our closely approaching NFL season. Not to forget, we have some good stuff coming up in the next few weeks. August 16th, we will have our fantasy football episode. August 23rd, our college football futures and the start of that season. August 30th, the NFL Week 0, our inaugural episode to get our new season rolling. And on September 6th, we roll into week 1 of the NFL. I know we're all super excited about that. Let's jump in and introduce my co-hosts. Huff and Mackie are the only ones here this week. Huff, why don't you get us going this week, buddy?
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Happy to be back. Like Jesse said, season 2, episode 50, sneaking up on that 100th total episode here in a couple of weeks, August 31st, where we're going to be breaking into some of our NFL futures in our week 0 episode for the NFL. So 100 episodes coming up, 97 today, episode 50 this season. Excited to be back. A lot going on in the sports world, a lot of NFL signings. A little bit of NHL news with my Pittsburgh Penguins. Not much going on in the NBA, but obviously the MLB keeps rolling on. A lot going on in the sports world, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yes, sir. We got lots to uncover this week. Mackie, why don't you finish it off and we'll jump into this week's episode.
Yeah, like Huff said, great to be back. 100 episodes is crazy to think about where we started from. I bet you if you listen to episode 1, it doesn't sound anything like it does now. But yeah, starting to get excited about the NFL, college football. I think we got 18 days until college football, so itching for that, of course. But for right now, just pushing through MLB. Yeah, Card picked it up a bit. Had a rough day last night, but other than that, we've been pretty solid. So, yeah, that's about it.
Alrighty, boys. Let's start off with our starting segment here. The top three best ways to win a bet. Who wants to get us started on this one? I think this is going to be an interesting one.
I'll get us rolling here. So my personal top 3 ways to win a bet. They're probably going to go off of my 3 favorite sports to bet on, other than baseball. The walk off baseball I think is an unfair advantage. I think that's a great one, just to allude to one of my picks. But my number 3 is going to be a game winner in an NHL game when you have a money line, whether it be a shootout winner, preferably a 3-on-3 overtime, or in the playoffs when it's 5-on-5, the overtime is electric. The kind of one last game, next goal wins idea is a great mentality in the NHL playoffs. I love that. So cashing a bet on that is definitely going to be in my top 3. Number 2, I do have the walk-off home run. I think I don't bet on baseball a whole ton, but when I do, and you get the walk-off home run, say your team, you're down 2-1 in the ninth, you got a runner on base and a guy up to bat hits a dinger to take a 3-2 lead, a walk-off win, and you just got a money line. There's no better feeling when you're down and out in the bottom of the ninth inning and you get that walk-off home run to cash the bet. Number 1, I do have a buzzer beater in basketball. There is no better way to win a bet, in my opinion, than a buzzer beater in basketball. Whether you have a -2.5 and they drain a 3 or whatever it is, even if it's you have a crazy, like a -6.5 point spread and the dude chucks up one of those half court buzzer beaters just to try to spread the lead a little more and it actually hits for you. Those buzzer beaters where the ball's alive, as long as it's in the air, those 2 or 3 seconds, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, if I need this to go in and it goes in, I'm going to go crazy. Or if I got an under, it's also a terrible way to lose one, because I will say the other way, I'm like, the fucking buzzer sounded, that shouldn't count. But whenever I need it, I'm like, yeah, let's go cash it.
It's definitely a time where like time just absolutely stops and you're just
Yeah.
sitting there for like feels like 10 seconds, but it's like a
You
half
watch
a
the ball in the air,
second.
you're like, oh, that's
You're
going
like,
in.
oh my god, you're,
Bang.
you're trying to like use trajectories to see if it's gonna go in before it goes in, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
but
I'll be watching NBA games, and like if I have an over, I always say, like, if I watch the ball, like where it's going, I'll be like, that's going in. And if it doesn't go in, I'm like, dude, you need to stop watching where it's going because you're making it not go in. I'm get so in my head. Same thing with unders. I'll be like, you watch it, it's going in every time.
yeah, exactly. I'm actually I'm pissed off I didn't put the NBA buzzer beater in it, but
That works for college basketball too. College basketball,
yeah,
you know, it happens all the time in college basketball. March Madness buzzer
it's
beater,
almost better in college basketball.
nothing better in March Madness than a buzzer beater.
but I'll get into my top 3. I'm gonna go number 3, a walk-off home run, but specifically when you're losing, not a tie game, because not a lot of pressure on when it's a tie game. You're like, walk-off home run, that was sick, game over, but you weren't like sweating yet. So when you're down like 2-1, 3-2, or even like down 3-1 and 2 runners on, a walk-off home run, that's pretty damn sick. But that's number 3. Number 2, a playoff NHL OT winner. When you're sitting there 17 minutes into the period and you're waiting for a second overtime, and then all of a sudden Kachuk throws it from behind his back and it ends up in the back of the net. I don't know if you remember that one, but that won him a playoff game this series or this playoff run. And number 1, walk-off interception in the NFL. You're sitting there, you have a 6.5 point spread. It's a 9-point game, and you know they're going to come down and try to kick a field goal and try to get the ball back. And they're on the 30-yard line. The guy throws the ball right into the defender's hands, and you're sitting there, and all the weight is lifted off your shoulders because you just cashed your bet. And because you're sitting there, and you know, like, next play, they're probably going to kick a field goal so they can get the ball back. Even if it's third down, second down, they just want to try to get the ball back. And a walk-off interception is just the most satisfying thing ever.
That's a good one.
Great
I'm surprised
list.
you didn't have the buzzer beater in there.
Dude, once you said it, I was like, fuck me, but whatever. I mean, they're all good ones.
Yeah. As long as you win, a win's a win. I wanted to have a UFC knockout in there, but I don't take UFC that much.
Let me run through mine here. My number 3 is an NHL OT winner in the first few seconds. So like first shift, people are still amped from the game. Like, you know, it's the energy's still like rock solid from the end of the third period. Your team just comes out, first
Before you
shift,
even
first
realize
shot,
overtime
just
started, it's
goal,
over.
done. Yeah. Second is, I kind of went like broad on this one by the other team's fault. So like a prime example, Huff, an opposite example is the national championship game when they missed that field goal. Like imagine you're on the side that you need them to miss that field goal. You know, you have them
Like
by that.
Yeah.
By,
So you're sitting there, you think you're gonna lose, and all of a sudden, shank.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know, lights out, like unreal.
Like you needed
so,
Georgia in that game, and I needed Ohio State. Yeah.
and my number 1 is with your boys. There's nothing better than winning a bet with your boys.
Dude, I was thinking scenarios like that, and I was gonna be like being in the bar, bombed out of my mind, just looking up at the TV and seeing it cash. Like that's pretty dope too.
That's a good one. Like that stuff's good.
I didn't think of it like that.
See, I thought
I see what you mean.
that's kind of the way I was looking at it too. But yeah, definitely a good list. Usually with that first one though, when you said first few seconds, I haven't even clicked back to the channel yet, and I'm like, oh fuck, I missed it.
Alrighty, good stuff there. Let's do. It's defensive ends and outside linebackers, correct?
Yeah, just say edge rushers. It'll be easier.
Yeah, edge rushers there.
Awesome, boys. Good stuff. Yeah, why don't we jump right into this week's episode? I think the NHL is going to be the first thing we're going to run through. Huff said it. The Pittsburgh Penguins have made some moves. They acquired 3-time Norris Trophy winner, defending Norris Trophy winner, Erik Karlsson from the San Jose Sharks in a 3-team trade. Sharks will retain part of Karlsson's salary, giving Penguins just a $10 million cap hit. What are you guys thinking about this one, Huff?
I mean, this is one that we've been hearing the news and the rumblings of this for the past couple of weeks. Obviously, when Kyle Dubas was named the GM of the Penguins, it was an older team and, you know, an aging team that they knew someone needed to come in here and make a change, whether it be a splash with a young player, or a superstar that's, you know, going to help you go out and win a playoff series. In the case of the Penguins, where we haven't won one in the past couple of years, and you know, people like me, we already have our eyes set on the Eastern Conference Finals and the Cup with getting a guy like Erik Karlsson back on the blue line, a guy that just won his 3rd Norris Trophy at a 100-point season in San Jose. You know, when you're in San Jose and you're playing defense for the Sharks, and you have a 100-point season. I mean, they weren't that good of a team last year. He had a hell of a season on a pretty bad team, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm really excited to get him. I'm interested to hear, Mackie. I don't know what you thought of this. We didn't really talk about this too much. Obviously, we did give up a lot. But the names that we gave up, I didn't think they were anything too much as far as a long-term plan for the Penguins in this short-term win-now mode that we're in. Guys like Casey DeSmith, Jeff Petrie, I didn't see any of them part of here or being a part of this team if we were going to go far into the playoffs. I like the move that we made to bring in Nedeljkovic. I thought that's why they shipped out to Smith, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what Carlson adds to this team because obviously when you have I heard Mike Grinelli on Chicklets call Chris Letang a Walmart version of Eric Carlson. Thought that was a little bit of disrespect there coming from him, but I don't know. I'm interested to see because obviously now we have two of the more high end offensive defensemen. I know Letang is more on the tail end of his career with the injuries and the strokes that he's had, but I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this because obviously me and Jesse are pretty stoked getting Carlson.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you bring in a player like Eric Carlson, you're not going to be upset no matter what you have to give up. And honestly, I don't think you really gave up that much, maybe a little in the draft picks. But the only thing about this is the age. I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins, before this trade even happened, were the only team in the league that their average age was over 30 years old. And obviously,
It only
thanks,
went up.
Jesse. Yeah, but Jesse, you fucking.
I'm
Uh,
texting both of you separate. Like, oh my god, doesn't he sound so good?
But yeah, I mean, you're bringing in a guy who's what 33 years old. He's obviously the age is not what you need for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but the objective here is to make use of Crosby's final years. And if you're gonna try to rebuild and throw some of the team away while he has what a few years left, I mean, it's just kind of a waste of time. He's still obviously one of the best players in the league, and bringing in a player like Eric Carlson, just coming off a Norris Trophy, obviously is not a bad idea. It's just I mean, this is a loaded, it's still a loaded conference, still a loaded division. Penguins, even with this move, are still probably look on the outside looking in, or just trying to get to that last wild card spot, or see what's. I mean, we can just see what they can do. Jari's also got to step up as well. I think bringing in the Delkovich is definitely better than having to Smith, and obviously you're gonna deal to Smith when you have Nedeljkovic now, but a lot of things still got to click for this team. But I like the move. I can't say it's a bad move.
Yeah, they got. I mean, like I said, they're not the youngest team. I don't know if that's necessarily what they're going for. At least it doesn't seem like it. You sign guys like Riley Smith who just won a cup. They're just trying to fill, I think, depth pieces and go with what they have. Not saying it's my favorite route, but obviously, like I said, when your core is now Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and you get a guy like Eric Carlson back there, I think I heard Letang say in a press conference he's willing to slide back to the power play, the second power play unit if they do get Carlson. So he's going to be the top guy on the number one with Malkin on the point. So a lot. I mean, not too much defense coming from those two on a power play. So look for the Penguins maybe to give up a couple shorthanded goals if Malkin and Carlson are back there on the blue line. But I also think a couple are going to be lighting the lamp. I think that power play with Gensel, Crosby, and honestly, whoever else they want to put up front, maybe Rust in front of the net, Malkin and
and,
Carlson on the point.
and Huff Gensel out first month with surgery.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
I was gonna say you don't even really have to move Letang off that first power play. You can put Carlson on offense on a wing and on one of these power plays. You don't want to move Malkin off the point because of his shot and the things that he can do from the point on the power play. But I mean, putting Carlson on a wing on this power play, he's about the most offensive defenseman of all time. So putting him on a wing is not taking anything away from your scoring ability. I think you should use him on forward for a power play. I don't think you need to
If
take
they
Letang off.
I was going to say if they were to go to like an umbrella, you put Letang up top, Malkin on the right side with a left-handed shot, Carlson on the left circle with the right-handed shot, Sid working the slot, and whoever else in front, Rust or someone down in front. That's a good
Whoever you
point.
want to throw in front, but I don't think this takes away from Letang being on the power play. I think that they can just work around this. I mean, you're bringing him in for obviously his offensive ability. You're not bringing him in to be a stay-at-home defenseman. So, I mean,
Yeah.
use it to the best of your ability. Use your best guys in the power play. It's going to be a long season for you guys, and every single game is going to be a battle. And down the stretch, it's gonna really matter. And I think you got to put your best lineup out there every chance you get.
The one thing I didn't see that was pretty cool was when Carlson got here and he was walking around the facility. I didn't realize Jason Spezza works for the Penguins. He's like a scout or for player development or something.
Yeah, player
So
development.
Spezza was giving Carlson the tour around. I'm like, wait, when did Jason Spezza get here? Can he play? Like, I know he's old, but like, we need a guy. Can he suit up? Like,
I saw that picture and now I feel like a plug for not knowing that was Jason Spezza, but I was like, who is that? Because I saw a picture of Spezza and Carlson when they were in the Ottawa unis, but
uh-huh.
and then Spezza was obviously in a suit when I saw the other picture, but
Yeah.
that's
He was
pretty
in the
cool
he was in
too.
the Penguins golf shirt. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What is his job?" And I looked it up. It's like develop director of player development or something. Like they just
I think
make up
that's
those
exactly what
roles
it
for
is.
guys.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, Kyle Dubas is doing everything he can as soon as he gets there. I mean, you want to make an impact on this on that city, so I like the move though. You
I
can't be
would have
upset
liked
about that.
Dumba. We're gonna get into that, but I don't know if we had the money for him. But get into that.
Yeah, definitely happy with what Dubas is doing here in the Pittsburgh era. Lots of good stuff coming from him. Carlson added the Pens, but Getzel out for the first month. So we'll see how we fare going into this this one of our last seasons of glory, I guess I'd say, trying to with that core.
I think we got 2 years with this core, but it's only getting older.
I
Quick
agree.
question though, what do
Yeah.
you? I mean, you just gave up a lot of your future or pending future. What do you think happens when this core does retire? When Crosby goes? I mean, we know what the city, what this franchise was looking at before Crosby got there. You guys were thinking about switching cities, and then he obviously came and revived the entire organization. But I mean, now that you don't really have many draft picks coming up, and your present is leaving soon, what does it say for it?
You know what I really think? All right, so in the next 2 years, I think obviously we'll stay relevant with this core. I just said I think that's Sid's prime. He has 2 to 3 more years barring any injury with all 4 of them. That's, they're 35, 36 years old. 3 more years. Say we get through 2 seasons. Going into the 3rd season with this core from here on out with these 4, if they're all still there, I think at that point, if Gensel and all them are still here and we're not in a competing position and we know the payroll's too high, these guys are too old, the team's way too old, I think that's where you ship out guys like Jari if he's worth anything in a year, in 2 years. After a playoff run, if he puts up a fight and it's like, oh, the team just didn't have the speed to keep up with him, but Jari stood on his head. You get rid of a guy like Gensel. I mean, like, I'm not saying, you want to do that, but that's where at the deadline when teams really need a goal scorer. If Gensel's on a 30-goal year, you're like, we'll take 2 first-round picks for him and a young, you know what I mean, whatever, because at that point he's going to be 28, 29. Like, I don't know exactly how old he is, but even like our younger players, like they seem younger, but like I think even Brian Russ is 31 now, 30 years old.
Is he? Wow, I didn't know he was that old, but he's a good player to. He's going to be a good piece for picks as well if you're going that route.
That's what I mean. Yeah, those 2 are going to be our like bread and butter. If we ever really need to just get out of a jam and get a draft pick or 2, I think those are the first 2 to go would be Gensel and Rust. But Sid, as long as Sid's here, I think Gensel will stay.
As long as Sid's here, you guys are also still competitors.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
just like you said, that division is loading up and they're only getting better. So, I mean, it's tough to say. I don't think they're done making moves. I could see something else happening with the bottom 6 going to get a kind of just like a no big name that nothing's going to be exciting. Like no, I'm not saying like a Tyler Bertuzzi because obviously that's a huge signing when he went to Boston and now he went to Toronto, but just someone to fill in the bottom 6. I'm not saying it's going to be a flashy player, but I think we'll get some youth on the bottom 6.
Going to be a very interesting season for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think. I'm excited to watch it, but we're going to have to wait and find out. Huff, you already hinted at this, but defenseman Matt Dumba is signing a 1-year deal with the Arizona Coyotes for $3.9 million. So not a bad signing one bit there for the Coyotes. I have another point here for the Coyotes. They've issued a statement confirming their attempt to purchase land in Mesa, Arizona for their new arena. Their plans for the first privately funded arena, pretty impressive. So it looks like there's some money floating around over there and they want to use it. So that rebuild is definitely happening in Arizona. Mackie, what do you think about this one?
yeah, I mean, a player like Matt Dumbo coming over is obviously a good thing, but I mean, this team is still pretty poverty. I don't think they're making much noise this year, but this is a good start. And obviously, you got these draft picks coming up. They're going to be down there, and this is a few solid drafts we got in a row. So, obviously, they got Logan Cooley as well, who they just drafted. So, they could definitely build around this. They might have a pretty nice future, but not much noise this year. What do you think, Huff?
Yeah, I was pretty confused why he signed there. Like I liked his. I've been a fan of the Minnesota Wild. I thought they were a couple pieces away from going on a deeper run last year, in a West that wasn't really that confident, or I wasn't that confident in. But I don't know. I was pretty surprised to see him leave Minnesota just on a 1-year deal for just under $4 million to go to the Coyotes.
Yeah,
I
not
feel like
even making like too much money either.
that's what I mean. I feel like if you're going to Arizona, it's like I need $7 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, Minnesota's like right there every year. So getting rid of a player like this probably isn't the best thing to do. But I don't know. Minnesota's always been trying to get over that hump, and they really can't. Dallas has been in their way a lot.
Yeah. I'd like to see. That's a team I've always liked to see. I like to root for, but I've never really been a fan of. Like they're just a cool franchise. Minnesota, I mean.
I liked Minnesota when Fleury went there for sure.
Yeah.
And Billy Guerin's involved up there. It is a good organization, like you said, Huff. for
They
sure.
got enough. They got enough hockey outside the NHL that they can enjoy.
You're right.
They don't. They
You're
don't
right.
need the NHL too.
Alrighty, boys, let's move forward. The NFL. The NFL preseason starts tomorrow, August 10th. We're jumping right into it. We're ready to roll, all that junk. But first, the NFL top 100 players for the 2022-2023 season has come to an end. Let's take a look at the top 10 and see who got snubbed. Number 10, Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Jones. Number 9, Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. Number 8, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Number 7, Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. Number 6, Bengals, Joe Burrow. 5, Chiefs, Travis Kelce. 4, 49ers, Nick Bosa. 3, Eagles, Jalen Hurts. 2, Vikings, Justin Jefferson. And 1, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Any surprises? Any upsets? Who you thinking got snubbed? Huff, you want to get us going on this one?
Mackie, if you wanna go first here, I'm trying to find the 20 through 11. I forget who I thought was there was a couple arguments that I had to be slid in there, but if you want to start us off.
I just think putting Jalen Hurts at number 3 is a bit of an over exaggeration. He's not even a third best quarterback in the league, and I think 99% of people that watch the NFL will agree with that. But you're putting him at third best in the league. I mean, 1 and 2, I think you got correct. Justin Jefferson coming off the season he had, you got to put him up there, and obviously Pat Mahomes, we know who he is. But I don't know. I feel like the defensive players are getting a little disrespected in this top 10.
I think so too.
Yeah, I said the same thing. Like guys, like I mean, I think Aaron Donald even was 11. And he had a terrible year last year, in my opinion. I think to his standards too, it didn't have a great year, and they still gave him the 11 just because the NFL loves him. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think they got the top two right. I mean, it's hard to not throw Jalen Hurts at least in this top four. I just think with the year they had last year, what was their record to start the year? Like weren't they undefeated for so long?
Yeah, they were the last team undefeated. I think they were like 11-1 at one point.
Yeah, so like I mean, they were America's team last year. You know what I mean, for lack of a better term. Like they were the team that everyone wanted to see, the undefeated team, and he was the guy. You know how it is when the MVP, who wins the MVP, the quarterback, and that's what I'm surprised to see Jefferson at 2, but obviously the hell of a year he had last year. But
You don't see wide receivers there that often, right?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And last year, I mean, they says like the year before prior rank, he was at 17. So going from 17 to 2, that's pretty impressive. And then obviously you get Kelsey at 5, a Burrow. I think anyone is gonna make that argument to slide Burrow in there. But like I said, quarterbacks are gonna be favored in this. Tyreek Hill, obviously people had doubts for him when he went to Miami. Still slides himself in there at 7. Allen, and then like you said, the defensive player is a little bit underappreciated here is Chris Jones. I think he could have been higher, but there's only so many guys. There's a reason it's the top 100. It's not just how we do it positional rankings and everyone gets their flowers that way. When you got to break it up into quarterbacks, we all know the offensive guys are what's going to be most of the top 5 for what it is. It's 4 out of the 5 guys are from the offensive side of the ball, but I don't know. I think some of these defensive guys were a little disrespected.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Definitely agree with you guys. Defensive guys are not getting their light when it comes to this list, but maybe we could do something like this. That'd be interesting. Alrighty, boys. Next point I have here, the 2023 rendition of Hard Knocks featuring the New York Jets, episode 1, premiered Wednesday. Very curious. You guys have any plans to watch this or
I
check it
usually,
out?
I usually start out with Hard Knocks every year, and then once football actually gets around, they usually work it to the last episodes right before the season comes out. But I suck with TV shows and keeping up with them, so I'll start it. Look, some of the highlights I've seen or some of the clips I've seen on Instagram so far have looked pretty good. So, I have been pretty excited for this, and obviously, like I always say, give me any football. I watched that quarterback. I'm about to watch that Johnny Manziel one too. I heard that's another good one. So. Yeah, I'll eat up some Hard Knocks to start out my month of August before football gets underway.
Yeah, I heard ratings are up pretty well too. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, everyone wants to see that. But I've seen some clips of it. It looks pretty interesting this year. I've actually never like gotten into Hard Knocks. I've never watched like a full season of it or like maybe even full episodes. But this is definitely something I could be intrigued in. And obviously, like the whole Zach Wilson thing with the mentoring, and everyone wants to see that as well. So this is definitely one of the most appealing Hard Knocks that we've had, or that I can remember at least. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good team for it.
Did you see the clip of the one clip that I saw? It was them at the Hall of Fame game, and Zach Wilson was warming up, and Rogers was on the sidelines with Saleh, and he was like, "Boy, he looks good." And Rogers goes, "Did you hear what he said? He asked me how much to get elastic sleeves on your jerseys, like because Rogers has the long like old school quarterback sleeves, and Zach Wilson has the elastic to show off his arms." And Rogers goes, "You more than you even have, buddy." And then Wilson comes running over and he goes, "Oh, look at this guy. He looks great out here." He goes, "Yeah, got to show off the guns. The guy in front of me doesn't have anything to show off or something like that." It was good.
Aaron
It's like,
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is literally just a coach that can still swing the football. He's like,
yeah,
Literally,
it's
he
literally,
crazy.
looks like a coach
exactly.
when he's standing on the sidelines. I think he's older than Sala. Like, so
If
he's older than his head coach. I think.
if he's not, he's right there.
Yeah, they've got to be right there.
Well,
Because how old's Rodgers?
Tom Brady was older than Todd Bowles, I think.
Aaron Rodgers' age 39. What's his name? Robert Sala. Okay, Robert Sala is 44. He's 5 years older than Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, but like
Rodgers looks older.
Aaron Rodgers not gonna sit there and like have Salah tell him what to do. I mean, they can
Yeah,
talk about it and they can
yeah.
come to a agreement. But yeah, Rodgers is Rodgers, so it's pretty cool to watch him just like with this young Jets team.
Myself, I'm the same way as you, Huff. I'm excited for Hard Knocks, but I'm gonna watch like 2 episodes and then I'm gonna be into not keep up with it for sure. But it's definitely a good
I did
show.
this last year with the Lions one. I watched the first couple. That was another one that kept my interest because the Dan
was a good
Campbell
one.
stuff, that was a good one. So I don't know. I think this will be a pretty decent one. We'll see how it is.
He'll
For
dabble.
sure.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Good stuff, boys. The next one I have here, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor said Wednesday that the status on Joe Burrow's calf injury, that the timeline is several weeks from when I said several weeks. Will Burrow be under the center for the Bengals week 1? What are we thinking?
Huff's got his fingers crossed over there that he's out for the entire
It doesn't
season.
sound like he's gonna be, and with the way Zach Taylor's talking, several weeks from when I said several weeks, he's just extending that timeline. And what I thought was really funny is what Jamar Chase said. They asked him in a press conference after training camp the one day. They said, "What do you think about Burrow's injury? When do you think he's gonna be back?" And he goes, "We don't even want him back. We just need him back by week 5." It's like,
That's
what do you
true
mean?
though. No, it's
I
true
know
though.
it's true, but like you don't say that. Like
Yeah, but
it's just
you know,
stupid to say. It's like, yeah,
y-
we don't want him back. It's like, who do you want under center, dude? Kyle Allen.
is
You'll
that who
start
it
this
is?
season. I don't know. You'll start the season with fucking 4 catches and 25 targets, and you'll be slamming helmets on the sideline that this quarterback can't get you the ball.
I think if you get him back there by week 5, this team is they're still definitely a playoff team. I
Who do they
mean,
play the first 5 weeks?
let's
Browns week
let's
1.
dive into this real quick.
It's Browns week 1. It's a divisional game. Like if there's no
I don't
Burrow, no,
I
it's
don't
not
like
Browns week 1. Or yeah, it is Browns week 1.
I don't
Sorry.
where is it?
It's in Cleveland. I'd take the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns. I think the Browns have a good season this year.
I do too. I think they're decent. I'd definitely take them without Burrow. Week 2, home against the Ravens. No Burrow. I'll take Lamar Jackson in that one probably
Dude,
too.
and you're killing your divisional record off
And
the
that's
rip.
It's 0-2 in the division to start.
Yeah, but then
they
you got Rams, Titans, Cardinals, 3 trash teams.
I was
going to
say they really wouldn't need him back until week 6 against the Seahawks.
And do you
Crazy.
Mm.
It's true,
And
though.
they're even pushing. I think they'd lose at least 3 games without him.
I think if you're sitting at 2-3, even 1-4 through 5 weeks, I think they're still a wild card team, and they're obviously going to make noise in the playoffs. It's Joe Burrow.
But like, let's go the other way and look at what the Browns would be through 5 weeks. They get the Steelers and Browns play each other week 2. I was just like looking at division. Then they get the Titans, Ravens, 49ers. So
Niners. Oh no, Niners is week 6 though. They have a bye week 5.
Steelers first 2 weeks is 49ers at home and then Browns at home.
Yeah, that 49ers game is a trap though.
I know Sam Darnold.
I think I'm sitting on the Steelers in that one, bro. Not gonna lie.
You like the Steelers? You're saying?
Yeah, I think everyone's gonna be on the Niners. 2.5 point spread. I think at this point.
I think it's been 2.5 like since the line opened.
It has.
You got to see the Rams this year, though. They can go one of 2 ways. I mean, that team we saw them win a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I'll avoid their games for probably the first 2 weeks till I see actually how the fuck they're gonna play football. Because remember how fucked we got last year on them opening night? We were like defending Super Bowl champs. They're gonna beat the Bills. We all team carded Rams money line first play of the season, and then Josh Allen just went in there and absolutely looked like the biggest Super Bowl hangover for one game, and really it carried over throughout the whole season for the Rams.
And then everyone hopped on the Bills, and then the Bills ended up losing first or second round. Over exaggerations are inevitable, but yeah, this is a team I'm definitely going to stay away from for the first few weeks. Get a feel for them.
They're not going to be bad. But
they have the team. I mean, they have the superstars at least. Like you have Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford on a good day is pretty damn good. Aaron Donald obviously
on a really good day. Who are you taking, Matt Stafford or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
I think it's pretty close.
Today, like tomorrow or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I'm taking Matt Stafford. Tomorrow, I'm taking Kirk Cousins.
Okay, I agree. Matt Stafford, man, like I liked him when he was on the Lions, but
they've both had crazy wide receivers that have just done it all for them, though.
Yeah, definitely. Kirk's just kind of getting used to his now, though.
Because even Stafford in Detroit, he had Megatron.
Well, that's what inflated all of his stats too.
Yeah,
he has really good numbers from Detroit.
He used to just air it out because they didn't have any running backs. They would just air it out every game.
Yeah.
Their defense couldn't stop anyone, so they'd have to score like 30 points.
Never made the playoffs. Never made, or if they did, they got kicked out first round.
Jared Goff, part of my take was asking Jared Goff. They were like, "Is it like weird? Like, you know, the Lions are opening up the season against the Chiefs. Like, for the NFL fan, like that's pretty weird. You know, like you get the Lions. Like, no one really wants to see the Lions. Like the opening game of the season. He's like, why is that weird? I've only been here for 2 years. Like, all I know is like we missed the playoffs. We were a bubble team last year, and they're like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And he's like, yeah, but I know what you mean. Like, you know, the losing mentality, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, like the Lions have turned around. Like the NFL obviously kind of respects what they're doing because to give them that spotlight week one, we'll have to see.
Are you struggling with a lack of access to captivating entertainment and media? Are you faced with constant judgment and ridicule from friends and family for your inability to respond appropriately to sensitive situations? If this sounds like you might be suffering from being emotionally dead inside. But it's not too late to make a change. One Nothing Podcast is a newly available treatment for being dead inside. Taken just once every 2 weeks, One Nothing could make a world of difference. By combining carefully measured dark humor to the amazing original formula of grisly fatalities, One Nothing Podcast has successfully entertained thousands of people suffering from death inside. And with access across all podcast platforms, treatment has never been more readily available. But don't trust my word. Here's some real-world testimonials from a few of our listeners currently undergoing treatment.
From consistent doses of One Nothing Podcast, my posture has greatly improved due to being kept on the edge of my seat.
The One Nothing Podcast comes on, everybody be like, shut the f*** up. I'll be quiet, but when the episode's over, I'll be talking again.
Oh my gosh, buddy. I used to be on so many medications for blood pressure, and then I listened to One Nothing Podcast's episode on Kitty Genovese, moved into an apartment on my own, and haven't needed it since. That one really got my blood pumping.
You know, listening to One Nothing Podcast, I'm not constipated anymore. I'm just full of shit.
So what's stopping you from great entertainment?
One Nothing Podcast is not intended for all audiences. Listeners under 18 years of age should obtain permission from your parent or guardian before downloading. Tell your therapist if you're predisposed to whining, complaining, reading podcasts poorly, being overall combative, or being easily offended, as One Nothing Podcast might not be right for you.
So stop letting great content pass you by. Talk to your therapist today to see if One Nothing Podcast is right for you.
I know we're all really pumped for this NFL season. We're almost there. Preseason starting tomorrow. But this next one's pretty interesting. Saints running back Alvin Kamara receives a 3-game suspension for his involvement in a Las Vegas fight during the Pro Bowl in February 2022. So we're seeing this come around. He's getting a 3-game suspension off the crack. What do you guys think?
I actually remember when this happened.
You do?
Wasn't this like right after they got kicked out of the playoffs or something?
Yeah, it was I don't remember what game it was. It was the 2022 Pro Bowl. It wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Oh, it was during the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, it was in Vegas for the Pro Bowl weekend, and he like fought a dude in a club or something. And I don't know, 3 games. The Saints are in a bad division again. I looked at their record. I think that division plays like really bad teams out of conference, and the whole NFC isn't that great. So I think the Saints they'll be okay. They're in talks about signing Kareem Hunt, so I think they could, if they get him and they have Jamal Williams. Obviously, if they have Jamal Williams, Kareem Hunt, and Alvin Kamara, I don't really know what their plan is there. Obviously, Kamara is your one, but Jamal Williams led the NFL in touchdowns last year, so you're obviously going to get him his touches at least on the goal line and whatever they plan with him. So I think the Saints will be okay without um Kamara for the first couple
You
weeks.
don't want to sleep on Jamal Williams. He's got the young legs too, and we know these running backs kind of hit a peak after 3 years. So Alvin Kamara sitting out 3 games might have a tough time getting back in this rotation.
True. Jamal Williams goes off the first 2 weeks. Yeah.
He's good, dude. He had a good year last year, and he's coming right off of that. I mean, what is this? His third year in the league?
He was with the Packers for 2 years. This might be his fourth. He was behind AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones.
Yeah, you're right. He was. Let me look into how old he is.
Well, let's stay on the Saints train here. Looks like they're looking to make some free agent ads. The Saints plan to add, and my screen is so dirty. The light is fucking with me. I can't read it. The Saints plan to sign linebacker Anthony Barr and running back Kareem Hunt pending physicals. Kareem Hunt said he had a great visit with the Saints. He's now on his way to Indianapolis to meet with the Colts on Wednesday. Do we see the Saints making some of these ads here? What are we thinking here?
I don't know. Him going to the Colts is also a pretty interesting spot in my opinion, because obviously the Colts are kind of on their way towards a downward spiral, but we don't really know what's going to happen with the situation with Jonathan Taylor and what's going on there. So
Do they have a lot of money to give?
I don't know, because he's probably not going to get a lot of money either. So it's either he's going to go to the Saints and have a chance to go to the playoffs, but he's going to sit behind two guys when Kamara comes back and Jamal Williams, or he's going to go to the Colts and risk sitting behind Jonathan Taylor, or Jonathan Taylor gets traded and he's the number one there. Like, I don't really know what the plan is, because they have that, what's his name, Jackson or something, Deion Jackson, I think is his name. He was a young guy like that too. So, I mean, with what Jim Irsay is saying, they're probably cool with just paying the young guy nothing at running back.
Alrighty, boys. Let's go through our top 5 edge rushers. I know Ace isn't here, and he's real excited about these. So I think, Huff, do you have his to read off? You want to start off with those?
Yeah, we'll start off with the Aces. He's got his Patriot at number 5, Matthew Judon, Nick Bosa at number 4, Micah Parsons at number 2, TJ Watt at Micah Parsons at number 3, TJ Watt at number 2, and Myles Garrett at 1. I'm going to say that again because I can't read. All right, so I'm going to go, here's Aces right here. At number 5, he has his Patriot, Matthew Judon. Number 4, Nick Bosa. Number 3, Micah Parsons. Number 2, TJ Watt. And number 1, he has Myles Garrett. I'll get into mine. Obviously, he fucking put TJ Watt and Parsons at 2 and 3 just to try to piss us off, because he texted us and said, I wish I was going to be there for the debate. So we knew that was coming. I have a pretty similar top 3. I think most of us are going to, but my 4 and 5, I have a lot of honorable mentions. So I'll just do my 5 to 1 and then give my honorable mentions. My 5 is Nick Bosa. My 4 is Max Crosby. I think the potential that he has is crazy. Number 3, I'm going to go Parsons. Number 2, Myles Garrett. And number 1, I'm going to go to my guy, TJ Watt. My honorable mentions, other than the other Bosa, Joey Bosa, I am huge on Aiden Hutchinson for Detroit. I really like him. So those are going to be my honorable mentions. And I did have Matthew Judon right there as my 8th guy. So my 3 honorable mentions, Joey Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, Matthew Judon. But my top 5 is Bosa, Crosby, Parsons, Garrett, TJ Watt.
Aiden Hutchinson, give him a few years. He's only two years out of Michigan, I think. He's dog.
Yeah.
But I like that list. Mine's pretty similar to yours as well, but mixing up the top 3. Number 5, I got Max Crosby, like you said, his potential and just like when he impacts games, it's absolutely incredible.
It's a shame the Raiders are going to be so bad this year.
I know, dude, because he's wasted talent on that team. 4, I got Nick Bosa. 3, I'm going TJ Watt, just because I mean his impact on
is availability.
Yeah, your best ability is availability, but you see it the most when he's not on the field and when he is on the field. The Steelers are a completely different team with him on the field. I kind of feel disrespectful putting him at 3, but I am going to put him at 3. Number 2, I go Myles Garrett. Undisputed top 2, I think, in my opinion. And then I got to go with my dog, Micah Parsons, at number 1. More for what I think he's going to do this year, what he's done the last 2 years, absolutely incredible right out of Penn State, immediate impact. But this year is a huge year for him, and I think he knows it. And I think he's the youngest guy on this list as well. So, absolute dog, big impact player. So let's see what he can do this year.
Yeah, this will be the year he has to go get that Defensive Player of the Year.
I like that list. Micah Parsons is a dog out of Penn State. I always liked him. All right, my list is similar. Number 5, I have Myles Garrett. 4, Micah Parsons. 3, Aaron Donald. 2, T.J. Watt, and 1, Nick Bosa. I don't know why I thought Nick Bosa should be up there, but like,
I mean, you can make the case for it. You
it's
really
I don't know.
can.
It kept coming back and coming back every time I'd go through this list. Like it was the name that kept coming towards the top of my list, which was weird.
But I was gonna say the one that never really slid in there for me was the older Bosa, Joey. I just think he always Nick was, even whenever Joey Bosa came into school or came into the NFL, we were always kind of waiting on. They always knew that there was the younger brother that was supposed to be even better than he was. So I mean,
Joey
wasn't Nick Bosa ranked? We just went through that top 10. Wasn't he ranked 4th fucking best player in the league last year? I'm trying to find that again.
I don't know. But Joey coming out of Ohio State was definitely like supposed to be
4. He was ranked 4th. That's pretty crazy. I didn't realize that. He was the highest rated defensive player.
He's up there. I mean, he's definitely in the conversation. I just got to put those 3 guys ahead of him. TJ Watt, dude, I think he was ranked 18th out of all edge rushers.
I saw that.
I was like, God damn, that's disrespectful.
They had got, I mean, like last year, like if you're going off just last year, they had so many, like all those Eagles, Josh Sweat,
yeah,
Hassan Reddick. They had crazy stats edge rushing for the Eagles. I'm trying to think, like Yannick Ngakwe's got to be up there, but like none of those guys are like top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, these are the guys that come to mind when you think top 5. Judon's there. I wouldn't put him in the top 5 yet, though. I think there's a few guys I would even put right behind the top 5.
That's what I'm saying. I have probably 2 more guys before I slide Judon in there. Even the dude for Seattle, I can't pronounce his name, but he's a younger dude. He's pretty fucking good. He like Olaway or something. He has a name I wouldn't be able to pronounce. He was a stud last year for Seattle.
Good stuff there, boys. Lots to keep going on the NFL, but our last point here is the Lions are signing quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Come in and back up Jared Goff. I think you guys kind of hinted at this a little earlier, but is this going to be another piece for the Lions? Like, you know, is Bridgewater actually going to be a good backup for them? I don't know. I don't think so, but
I mean, it's one of the better backups in the league, but it doesn't really come into play. How often do you see a quarterback sit out? And Jared Goff is good. He's been underrated the past few years because he got dealt by the Rams, and they wanted to do that switch, and then obviously Stafford came in and won him a championship right away. So Goff gets looked at as a pretty shitty quarterback, but he did get to a Super Bowl 5 years ago, I think. Didn't put up a very good showing. I think he only put up 3 points, but he is a pretty good quarterback, and he showed it last year. And this Lions team is getting a lot better. So it's not like a situation where they're gonna be like step up or Bridgewater's coming in. I think it's more of like a safety net type of thing. I don't know. He's definitely one of the better backups in the league, though, at this point.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I don't think I agree with your take on Jared Goff. I think they're in a pretty good spot. They're the favorite to win this division. I think at plus 120. Even though I'm still probably not going to pick them to win the division, I'm probably still going with the Vikings. I like the value in the Vikings at plus 275 that I've seen. But
crazy value.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I don't think you can give the Lions the favorite to win this division yet. I think it should be a little more even, but
prove something first, right?
Exactly.
Alrighty, boys. Lots of good stuff there in the NFL. We are just a mere 29 days away with preseason starting here tomorrow. We're all super excited, I know. We will have lots to look forward to as these live streams start and things like that. I think that week 1 Steelers-49ers game, we're going to have a lot of good conversation about that one. So I'm really looking forward to it. The NBA season is just 76 days away. I know we're really excited about that one as well. But let's jump into a little MLB with our power rankings for the week of August 7th. Coming in at number 5, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 4, the Tampa Bay Rays. 3, the Texas Rangers. 2, the Baltimore Orioles. And number 1, the Atlanta Braves. So pretty good pretty good list there, boys. Any comment on that before we move forward to what's going on in the MLB as a whole?
Those Rangers, man, we kicked them out of the power rankings last week, and they shut us up with 8 straight wins.
I was gonna say, and then we kind of hopped on it for a couple of games, and we at least kind of made some money off of it. So if we're gonna be wrong about pulling them out of there, at least we hopped on whenever they started winning games again.
Yeah, but those Braves and Orioles are holding real strong, 1 and 2. I don't think anyone's taking their spot anytime soon. But 3,
Rays
4, and
continue
5.
to slide.
What?
Rays continue to
Yeah,
slide.
well, they were back up to 3 last week, but they've been 3-4, 3-4. They can slide out soon. I mean, you got those teams knocking on the door. Those Astros want to get in real bad. I know they do. So, Astros. Who else?
Did
is even
Texas
sitting
lose
right
today?
there?
They were down 2-0 to
They
Oakland.
lost 2-0.
Yes.
Astros are gonna lose too. It doesn't matter.
No. Don't say that. It's okay.
I'm on the
But
O's tonight.
if they both lose on the same day, it's okay.
Did you see that game last night? They were
No.
down 6-3 going into the top of the 9th. They won 7-6.
I didn't see that. I did see they won. I didn't see how. That's cool.
Dude, it was incredible. I saw people tweeting like cash O's. I'm like, dude, bases loaded, top 9. Like, careful.
I was at that Pirate game, and I left early. I knew the Pirates were gonna blow that. When I left, I think it was 6-5, and the 2 outs, top of the 9th. I think it was a 1-2 count. Braves got a base hit, tied the game. Another base hit, or I think it was a double. Boom, 8-6. So all with 2 outs, they scored 3 runs. It's like those good teams, they're never out of these games.
I mean,
Especially when the right part of their lineup comes up, at least for the Braves. I think it was Olsen, so it's like boom.
especially the Braves, man. I mean, any part of that lineup comes up, and you gotta be timid about it. There's no
Dude,
one.
Darno had 3 doubles last night, or 4 doubles.
Darno's batting like 260, dude. It's insane. There's not one person on that lineup that's like not having a good year.
It's crazy.
1 through 9, you can't you got to worry about every single guy. It's crazy, but that's why they are the best team in the league.
Yeah, and then I saw Acuna get beamed in the elbow.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, they're doing it on purpose. Like, relax, dude. The guy gets beamed. Like, everyone else gets beamed in the MLB just because he's having a good year. It's intentional.
Yeah.
Of course, right?
Did you see Acuna after he scored his home run? So he was 0 for 5 2 days ago in the first game of the series. And then he hit the home run in the first at bat yesterday. And I think it was the second pitch of the game. They kept zooming in on him. He was like talking so much shit over at the Pirates dugout the whole time. And then obviously and then Hayes hit a 3-run bomb in like the second inning. So then I think he kind of shut up. But then when he got hit by the pitch, he looked pretty pissed.
He left the game.
Yeah. That was the
He's
video I
fine,
sent you.
man.
I was sitting right there. I took the video. I'm like, he's either going to get a home run here or strike out. And boom, he gets hit by a pitch. I'm like, or he just gets hurt and leaves the game in total.
He got hit on his pad.
Yeah.
There's a pad there, and he got hit in it.
Yeah, it's like, what do you wear those fucking flashy yellow pads for? It's
What
like,
do you
I always
have
say
it
those-
for, man? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I know they're swaggy as fuck and they add style, but can't be bitching if it hits that and you're out and missed a couple games. Is he playing tonight?
I'm sure he is.
I'll check. I'm in fantasy. Yeah, he is playing tonight. He's leading off.
But yeah, we can get into this these wild card races. Right now in the NL is getting really tight. They got Phillies leading by 3 games right now. Giants are in that second wild card spot, also 3 games up, and the Cubs are sitting there in that third wild card spot, tied with the Marlins. The Reds are a half a game out. The Diamondbacks are 2 games out, and the Padres are 4 games out. That kind of wraps up the teams that are still in the race. So, Huff, you want to dive into this a little? What teams do you think are gonna end up getting in at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna go with the Phillies. I think they've been hot of late, even though they struggled with these the Nationals last night in the second part of that doubleheader. And but they've been rolling the past couple of weeks. I think the Phillies will lock up one of these spots as well as the Giants. That's the team I've liked the past couple of weeks. I've said they're not necessarily the splashiest team, the flashiest team that you want to go out and they don't have all the superstars, but I think the consistency that they bring every night, I think they could get in. A team that scares me that I was liking earlier on was Arizona and San Diego, but obviously for good reasons with San Diego. But I don't know, the inconsistencies. I didn't love the moves that they made at the deadline to go get like Rich Hill and G-Man Choi from the Pirates, and I didn't think that added much to them at all. I'm not saying they needed too much from a batting perspective, but I've never been too big on the Reds. I think they're still a year or two away. I don't think they'll get in. I like this Cubs team. I said early on, I think this Cubs team was going to take a while to get rolling with all these new names and the new lineup. The free agency moves that they made with Dansby Swanson and Bellinger and all the names they brought in. I definitely could see the highest scoring offense since the All-Star break get in. So I know it's the easy answer to give you Giants, Phillies, and probably the Cubs, but I do like it to kind of separate how it is. I think those three teams will continue to separate themselves. I know Miami's sitting there right there with the same record as the Cubs, but I don't know. I haven't been big on this Marlins or Reds team all year. I watched them play today. Obviously, Miami won, so they're going to beat up on each other a little bit today or this week. So I don't know who you going with here. I'm not big on the Diamondbacks or the Padres. I thought the Diamondbacks hit a little streak where they kind of came back to reality, similar to the Rays.
Yeah, I mean, Diamondbacks are 0-7 since the trade deadline, since they went all into since they ended up being buyers and not sellers, and look how it's working out for them. I mean, those three teams sitting right on the outside, Marlins, Reds, Diamondbacks, have all hit a brick wall. They were all teams. All three of them were the three teams that were in the wild card probably a month ago, and now they're all sitting on the outside looking in, and for good reason. I mean, these teams are just hitting a brick wall. They don't have all the pieces that they need down the line to really make
Weren't
a
the
playoff
Reds
run.
weren't the Reds the same thing? They haven't won a game or something like that since the All-Star break. They
Reds
have
are
a terrible record.
They were on a 6-game losing streak going into this series, and they took one from
Or
Miami.
since
Miami took
since
two,
the
and
trade deadline. Sorry, the day of
Miami's
trade deadline.
Miami's been bad too. I mean, all these teams on the outside looking in are not looking very good, and I don't think the Padres get there either. But I do think that the Cubs are going to end up winning this division and hopping the Brewers. They're sitting 2 games out right now, and they're hot. They're probably the hottest team in the league right now, coming off a series win against the Atlanta Braves, who everyone knows who the Atlanta Braves are. So this team, if they keep rolling, we said it in the beginning of the season, they have the lineup to do it. They started slow, and we were a little shook by that. But, I mean, like we said, a long season, 162 games, and they're really finding their stride now. Big players stepping up. The pitching's there. So I think this team hops the Brewers and wins the division, and the Brewers find themselves in that last wild card spot. But I think the teams in the NL right now are going to stay in the playoffs.
I'm looking at the Brewers' schedule right now. So they get the Cubs the end of this month for a 3-game series. They do have a tough 6-game stretch there in LA and then in Texas. But obviously, they just finished up a 3-game series with the Rockies. They won that series. They go to Chicago, to the Dodgers, to the Rangers, and then home against the Twins and Padres, and then they're in Chicago for the Cubs.
Can I
Um,
can I read you this Cubs schedule coming up? You're
yeah,
gonna be
go.
you're gonna be amazed. All right, so they have to go to Toronto for 3 games, right? Then they have 2 against the White Sox, 3 against the Royals, 3 against the Tigers, 4 against the Pirates, and then they have a pretty big series against the Brewers. So I mean, they have a chance to just really tear this
Yeah,
thing
flip
open right
this whole
here and
series. Yeah.
have that division by the time they have to play those 3 games against the Brewers in Wrigley Field. Then they have the Reds, Diamondbacks, Rockies. I mean, this team has a pretty weak schedule coming up, and like you said, the Brewers have a rough stretch there, and Cubs are not going to run into any of those. So, I like this team's chances. I liked it
Did we
before I
lose
even
them?
saw the schedule, and now I really like it.
Alrighty, boys, lots of good stuff there in the MLB. But let's jump over to these college football realignments. Just curious to see where all these different teams are ending up with all these different changes coming to the college football league. Let's start with the ACC. The ACC isn't having much of a change. They're having the same 14 teams heading into the 2024 season. Notre Dame still has a 5-game arrangement with the conference. They have a ESPN TV deal that runs through 2036. Following them, the Big 12. The Big 12 will have 16 schools for the 2024 season. Big 12 had 10 schools in 2022. Conference added BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF for the 2023 season, and lost Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC in 2024. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are joining the Big 12 in 2024. Following them, the Big 10. The Big 10 will have 18 teams in 2024 to the 2025 season. Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Washington are leaving the Pac-12 to join the Big 10. And over to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 will now have 4 teams in the 2024-2025 season. Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Washington are heading the Big 10. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are heading the Big 12. Like I said, the SEC will have 16 teams in 2024-2025. Oklahoma and Texas are joining the conference next season. Anything else you guys want to hear?
That's a lot to take in. I was thinking about some of the matchups that we're going to get now. Obviously, in college football, college basketball, all the sports. If this is how the new conferences are going to be, we're going to get a lot of the West Virginia, like Utah, West Virginia, Colorado. We're going to get to see Dion in the Big 12, what he can do in a year or so. But it's going to be interesting in college football and college basketball. The college sports world is forever changing. Obviously, with the NIL the past couple years, we saw a lot of these schools do what they could to compete with that, and now the realignment with the Pac-12 basically going to the rest, for lack of a better term. They're losing, like you said, they're down to 4 teams, and you have Oregon in the Big Ten. That just doesn't sound right. Washington in the Big Ten doesn't sound right. I'm hearing Stanford is probably going to go independent, so that's another interesting one because a couple years ago, Stanford, when they had like guys like McCaffrey and Andrew Luck, and now you think they're going to go independent. They were winning all the big bowl games back then, and I don't know, just what's happening with the Pac-12 and what's been happening with Pac-12 sports in general. The football, I just think it's a little interesting. But I'm excited for the new matchups that we're going to get. I guess I see both sides of it. I never really cared too much for like the brand of Pac-12 because personally I thought it was trash college football. I didn't really care to like stay up and watch Oregon, Washington, and the score be 48-42 and me have to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch it. I was always more SEC. I'm not saying Big Ten because the Big Ten's like fucking 13-10, like boring ass style football. But I don't know. I just kind of stick to like the SEC because college football. Big Ten is at least entertaining to me, but I don't know. That's why I'm not too upset about some of these new moves. We get some new flavor into the Big Ten and the Big 12.
It's better in the South, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, I mean the Pac-12 has always been that one conference. I mean, you said it last week. The ACC, everyone thought the ACC was going to be the conference that kind of blows up in football, and it would make more sense because there's more places for teams in the ACC to go. But Pac-12 is just a ticking time bomb, in my opinion. Now we see 4 teams left in. I mean, these teams shouldn't even play conference games this year. I think that what are you going to do with 4 conference teams? It's not even a conference. It's just it's a waste of time, in my opinion. And I mean, for better reason. I mean, teams like Oregon, USC, they don't want to play in the Pac-12. They don't want to play this type of competition. They're not getting exposure out there. They want to go over to and play Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan and teams in the Big 12 like Oklahoma and Texas. I know they're leaving in 2 years, but they still want the exposure to be over there. And it is cool to see these like new teams coming to play conference games. You're going to see West Virginia going out to Colorado and Utah and Arizona. And for a team like West Virginia, who's already had to fly to Texas 10 times a year because every team in the Big 12 is in Texas or Oklahoma, they don't care if they have to fly an extra hour to Arizona or an extra 2 hours to Colorado or Utah. And
we thought it was so crazy when West Virginia went to the Big 12 for that reason because the travel was crazy. And now look at like Washington's going to be coming to Rutgers.
Everyone's doing it now. You're going across the country at this point. It doesn't matter about travel anymore. I mean, teams just want to play the best teams that they could possibly play and put their programs in the best possible conferences that they can. And if they're able to do that and blow up the Pac-12, I think it's a good idea.
I think it's going to be an interesting college football season. We're coming up on that here as it's starting or has started, if not already. Can't remember exactly when.
What?
The college football.
18 days.
18 days. I was going to say it's coming up. I'm getting my days all mixed up. August 9th here. Alrighty. The next point I have here is former Arizona Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury has officially joined the coaching staff at USC and will add Heisman quarterback Caleb Williams to the star-studded list of quarterbacks that he has had the opportunity to coach. Some other notable names are Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M, Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, and Kyler Murray with the Cardinals. An impressive list of just, like you said, star-studded quarterbacks. What do you guys think about this? Any comments on Mr. Kingsbury?
I think it's going to be interesting. You get a NFL caliber coach, not necessarily one that had too much success in the NFL, but someone that's been there, has done that, knows how it operates. And you have a guy like Caleb Williams coming off a Heisman season. He's the favorite to win the Heisman again this year. There's so much high expectations for him and what USC can do this year. Obviously, their last year in the Pac-12 and what's going to happen with all that. All these games are going to mean more. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do with Kingsbury, in his headset talking to him because we already know what Caleb Williams is capable of and getting ready for a pro-style offense. I think this is a win-win situation for both the player and the coach.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing to get back to about Caleb Williams is that last year during his Heisman speech, he was lined up next to C.J. Stroud and
Bryce Young.
and Dugan.
Oh, Max Duggan, yeah.
Max Duggan and he said, one thing I'm standing up here with this trophy, but one thing I'm not getting is that you guys are all in the college football playoff. And I think bringing in Cliff Kingsbury makes their chances a lot better. A team like USC, and that's what they want to do, is they want to win a national championship. They didn't have the chance last year, and that's what they want to get to this year. I mean, obviously Caleb Williams is a dog. I've been high on him ever since he left Oklahoma, took over from who's that loser that transferred to South Carolina.
Rattler.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler took over for him.
Because Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley went to USC.
Yeah, he just
And Rattler went to South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
It's like,
But,
yeah, if you're going to the SEC, don't go to South Carolina because you're just going to get eaten alive.
Exactly. But yeah, bringing in a guy like Cliff Kingsbury to coach Caleb Williams in his last college year, I think is a very good idea. I think USC can make some noise this year too.
Absolutely.
Kingsbury's a genius, man. He's one of the guys that really knows the game of football.
He's not a head coach. That's why this is a perfect role for him. He's a
quarterback coach.
Yes, this is a perfect role for him.
He's a quarterback coach. I listened to him talk about Johnny Manziel coming into the NFL, and it was like, God damn, this guy is smart.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals, obviously, they weren't a good team, and he wasn't the best. I mean, it's going to be hard to be an NFL head coach. I can't imagine it's easy, but I think it's a much better role for him. In college, too, not as many eyes on you. You're working with the best quarterback in college football.
And he's the smartest guy down there. I mean,
yeah,
and he knows it. So, I mean, that makes a difference.
I was going to say, he has the resume now that I've done it in the NFL for 2 years. Yeah, I might have got fired, but I kept a job as a head coach in the NFL. I don't forget where he came from before there. I think it was Texas Tech.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch this year.
Again, more of that college football talk. So excited for it. Mackie said it, 18 days. We're ready for it. We got one final point here that I'm particularly excited about. Former NFL All-Pro and Super Bowl champion Richard Sherman will be joining Undisputed alongside Skip Bayless for the season, around 50 to 100 episodes. I think that's pretty cool, pretty just fun and exciting, a different look at things. What do you guys think?
The old football fans, not even the old football fans, but if you've been watching football for a good amount of time, you remember right after he talks his ass off to Crabtree, he talks his ass off to Skip on Undisputed. So, what did he tell him? He's better at life than him or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was like, I have 14 interceptions through 3 years. And he goes, oh, I'm not doubting you. Do you think you're better than Darrelle Revis? He goes, I'm better at life than you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not talking about me. But Richard Sherman's done a lot of growing up since that time, obviously. So he's getting his name out there in the reporting game. This is a good step for him. It's gonna be
I can't wait for this first episode. I'm not gonna lie, I did not like Skip and Shannon. I will tune in the first episode. Richard Sherman's on there to see if they reference that at all.
Definitely, they're definitely gonna bring it up. But Richard
they gotta just air the grievances real quick and then just kind of let it go.
That's gonna be interesting to listen to. But Richard Sherman's grown up a lot since then, and he's gonna be humble about it.
It's gonna be so they're gonna show the clip. It's gonna be so funny. Richard Sherman's probably gonna say that. He's gonna be like, I mean, I was a cocky asshole.
I was 25, 26 years old.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be like, I was trying to get paid. Like, I think that was before he was probably on a rookie deal. He's only in his third year in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he was making a name for himself at that point.
He goes, you better than Darrelle Revis is right now? He goes, I'm better at life than you.
He's like, I'm not talking about me, bro.
Like, dude, I'm 60 years old.
So good.
And look at them now in the same exact situation.
Yeah.
Alrighty, boys. Lots of good stuff here this week as we gear up for the NFL season. Preseason starts tomorrow. I know we're all ready for it. That's all I got. Make sure to check us out on all our social media platforms. And that's all I got this week. Anything else, Dad?
No, I think it's going to do it for me. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Like Jesse said, we're going to get into more of these, our fantasy football outlooks in the next coming weeks, and week 0 for both the college football, or our futures episode for the college football world, and where we get into that kind of stuff, and also same thing for the NFL. So definitely the next couple episodes are going to be ones you do not want to miss, as football is right around the corner. We said preseason getting underway. Not really going to be betting on preseason, but about a month away from some real football, and I can't wait for it. So thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.